Your blonde bombshell with you. Yeah, I got my fancy spectacles on, so you know I'm going to be doing some book reviews. Ooh, right? Have I been active in my coloring? Yes, I have, and I'm going to share this with you right now. I call this my Elsa, if you will. Relax and let go. That's my coloring. Now, what books have I read? Well, I am so glad that you asked. We're going to start with this one that was a $3 find at my Dollar General. Hope Ramsay's Here Comes the Bride. As you can see, I have little parts that I have marked to share with you. And tonight, what I'm doing is putting this up on my Facebook. As soon as I film these videos as well, I'm going to share them to the YouTube, yes, but they're going to Facebook too, so they don't get cheated out of their book reviews. And after I take these out, I don't want to put these paper clips back in. I want to be able to use them on the new book that I'm reading, Susan Mallory, Summer Nights, which I feel like I've read it before, but it's so good, why not read it again? It gives us women hope, and it makes us think that you men actually have hearts. Enough said about that. Anyway, we're going to read about what the author says this book is about on the back of the book. Then I'm going to share my little parts with you, and then I'm going to make you want to read this book, I promise. Anyway, here we go. A Chapel of Love novel. There goes the groom. For Professor Lori Wilson, planning her wedding to longtime boyfriend Brandon Kopp has been a whirlwind, but somehow between all the cake tastings, and dress fittings, she never imagined being left at the altar. In the aftermath, she does what any sensible woman would. She swigs her champagne, considers keying his car until someone knocks on her door with a much better idea for revenge. Best man Andrew Lydon thinks that Lori's better off without Brandon, but Lori's father and Andrew's boss isn't going to accept anything less than a reconciliation, and he's made it Andrew's problem to solve. So Andrew decides to make Brandon jealous by setting Lori up on a string of quote-unquote dates. After a couple of weeks, Brandon will be begging Lori to take him back. But Andrew's scheme works a little too well, because suddenly he's the one falling for Lori and planning a proposal of his own. So here we go. The first one is The Butterfly, which my work mom Deb gave me those. I still have them. We go to page 19. At page 19, what's going on? Well, she's talking with her friends, and Courtney, she's got all the men figured out, if you will. She's got titles for all of them. She knows all of their kind, but she's not in a relationship. The nice guy, Not, is the one who looks perfect on paper, Courtney said. Everyone says he's a nice guy. He holds doors. He's not afraid to meet the parents. He even cuddles, but he thinks all that good behavior entitles him to special treatment. As if common decency were something special, and that just makes him an entitled male jerk. So we move on. Okay, so we can take the butterfly out and go to the next little clip, which is at page 33. Why did I mark 33? Or is it 34? Sometimes these paper clips can even fool me. It's 34. Andrew and Noah are talking. Now, Andrew is the employee. Noah is the father of the bride who got left at the altar. Andrew is one of the best men to Brandon, who was leaving Lori, the daughter, at the altar. So here we go. Why do you want Lori and Brandon back together? Why? I see I've surprised you, Noah said. Surprised wasn't the word Andrew was thinking. He nodded and chose his words carefully. Brandon doesn't want me to mediate his conflict with Lori, and besides, I'm hardly impartial since Brandon and Lori's breakup has divided my circle of friends. This is an awkward situation for me, Noah. Of course it is. It's awkward for everyone. Nevertheless, I want you to drop everything and focus on this problem. From now on, this is your highest priority, Noah said. Oh boy, Andrew knew he was in serious trouble, but he couldn't say no to Noah and had Andrew's career in his hands. Andrew was up for partner this year. Okay, he said, I'll give it some thought after we finish the aviation and engineering negotiations. Noah shook his head. No, I don't want you wasting your time with Avian. I want you to speak with my daughter right away and convince her of this necessity of dating. Be sure to tell her that going out with other men has potential to help Brandon see the enormity of his mistake, and that then I want you to facilitate her dates. Facilitate her dates? What does that mean? It means introduce her to some of your friends. Andrew's mouth almost dropped open. But make it happen for her. Understand? Noah stood up, cutting off all objections. I know this is going to be difficult, but I have faith in you, Andrew. So let's go to the next paper clip. As you can tell, this one, it was so cute. It had lots of paper clips. Now what is she doing? Okay. Oh, she's having that talk with Andrew. I think this is what she's doing. Okay, let me just see who she's talking to. Yeah, she's talking to Andrew. He brings some donuts for the first meeting, and she's like, well, the donuts can stay, but you can't. And he works his way in there, if you will. She snorted a laugh. What you really mean is that he's using his leverage over your partnership's prospect to force you into doing something that you don't want to. I'm totally aware of my dad's high-handed tactics, and I'm really sorry, Andrew. He can be a pain in the butt, but thanks for these. She clutched the box of donuts to her breast and then tried to shut the door in Andrew's face. Unfortunately, Andrew had good reflexes and wedged his foot into the door and forced it open. She retreated in the face of superior strength, but not without a snarky retort. I'm not sharing the donuts. That's fine. I brought them just for you because I know how much you love Krispy Kremes. Okay, we're going to move to page 41. Andrew said nothing for the longest time. It was almost as if he used the silence as a weapon to pry open. She busied herself devouring the donut and refused to give in. So, he said when she was licking down the sugar off her fingers, what if we showed Brandon the consequences of looking for better options? Because at the wedding, when it didn't happen, he said he wanted to experience life, and he wanted her to go out and date more as well, which left everybody speechless, of course. So now payback is, well, not going to be fun for dear old Brandon. Okay, and what is... Okay, hold on a second. What, in your judgment, are the consequences? I'm pretty sure Brandon hasn't thought through how he might feel if you decided to go out and play the field. You mean he might be a victim of his own double standard? She answered. Aston shook her head. But what if he's already gone out and played the field? What if there's someone else? Her voice wavered, and she had to admit the prospect of Brandon cheating on her was soul-sucking. Andrew shook his head. Lori, I truly don't think Brandon has been going out with other women on the side. I think that he's just got cold feet. He's never played the field, and it suddenly dawned on him that he can never have that chance again if he got married. That can be a terrifying realization. So you're saying that if I do what Brandon asked me to do, go explore the other options, it will make him jealous? Well, sort of. See, I'm not suggesting that you actually date other people. I'm suggesting that you give the appearance of dating other people in order to make him realize what an idiot he's being. Okay, and how do I give the appearance of dating? What do I do? Just go directly to Match.com and post a sexy profile? There's an idea. But if I did that, I would lose Brandon forever, wouldn't I? Maybe not. He leaned back the chair and looking so completely comfortable that it irked her. Instead of Match.com, I was thinking along the lines of setting you up on a series of show dates with guys Brandon that either knows or admires or even hates. In short, guys that will annoy the crap out of him. We'd arrange them so Brandon either sees you out with someone else or hears about it. I'm betting that seeing you out with someone else will drive him crazy, and he'll realize there's no better options out there. Her mouth actually dropped open. You're not serious. Do you have a better idea? She shook her head. No, I don't, but but if I did what you're suggesting and it worked, I'd spend the rest of my life wondering if I tricked Brandon into marriage. But you do love him, right? I do, but I can't manipulate him that way. It's wrong. You won't even try? She shook her head. Look, I'm sorry Dad sent you here. I shouldn't have to try to trick Brandon into coming back to me. That's just crazy. She stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. You can tell Dad that I'm fine. Thanks for the donuts. Now, if you don't mind, Netflix is calling my name. She definitely reminds me of me in some ways. Her speech mannerisms, if you will. Page 45. Okay. What are we doing here? Oh, she's feeling sorry for herself again, but one of her friends comes over and, basically tells her, oh, time's up, we're going to get moving here. And she's just like, nope, I didn't, but okay, we'll start up here at the top of the page. Courtney is telling her that she needs to go shower, and that she would wait for her. The show didn't start till 8 o'clock, and asked her if she wanted a margarita for the road. She held up the grocery bag that apparently didn't contain any groceries except for maybe limes and salt. No, just give me a few minutes. It took Lori almost an hour to clean herself up. During that time, Courtney must have disposed of the pizza boxes, dirty dishes, folded the capital fleece blanket, because when Lori came in from the bedroom, the living room looked semi-presentable. How had Lori allowed herself to go like that? Being a slob was not her thing. You didn't have to clean, she began. Nope, I didn't, but I did. The thing is, you don't have to face the problem alone. I've had my heart broken so many times it hardly bleeds anymore. But I still remember the first butthole who took me for granted. His name was Mark. And when we broke up with me, he issued these fatal words that I'll never forget. Court, he said, I'm breaking up with you because I love you too much, and I don't want to hurt you. Now you tell me, what the heck does that mean? Lori shook her head. I don't know. It's kind of an oxymoron. Forget the oxy. It was just plain moronic. Being told that your boyfriend loves you too much is like one of those WTF moments, I cried my eyes out. I mourned the relationship for the whole 2 years of my life. I still can't believe that I wasted that much time on him. In the end, I realized that Mark was one of those guys who seemed to care about me, but the moment Cheryl Roth crossed the path with her blonde hair and her size double D's, he justified his decision to ditch me, inventing that weaselly excuse. And the amazing part is, he actually thought telling me he loved me too much would spare my feelings. He actually thought he was doing me a favor. It's truly unbelievable what some guys will think. I guess, Lori said without much conviction. Listening to Courtney's experience in the world of dating and hookups was just depressing. Now we're going to move over to page 47. Okay, I can't believe it, Lori said in a choked voice. Honestly, I'm starting to think that I never knew Brandon at all. How could he do this to her? How could he have demanded that she give up her dream job at the University of Michigan for him and then choose not to join his father's firm? The sudden fury was almost cleansing. Don't you worry, Lori. We're going to find some way of making his life miserable. We just need to put our minds to it. Okay, and then this is kind of cute. Courtney is running down the list, if you will, of men that exist out there. And here, listen to her, Melissa. I lost my heart to this guy who was an English professor, so smart and so cute, but all he ever did was make me feel small and stupid. When we broke up, I was devastated. But in retrospect, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. That's because Christopher was a belittler, Courtney said with authority. A what? Lori asked. A belittler, Courtney said. There's 10 distinct male types. The belittler, the ogler, the space invader, the slut-shamer, the player, the too selfless to be true, the not emotionally available, the clueless guy, the man-baby, and the nice guy, not. Courtney ticked the types off with her fingers. Lori's mouth fell open. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, but here's the thing you should keep in mind, Courtney continued. Assuming that you did not want to take Brandon back, Andrew's plan would only work if Brandon is a man baby. A man baby is the kind of guy who breaks up with you, expecting you to remain friends, but the minute you go without out with someone else, he'll be all over about how you hurt his feelings. A man baby's feelings are the only ones that matter. This description left Lori speechless. She took a big gulp of her drink. Well, Arwen said, man, baby, or not, Brandon has made you change your career plans in deference to him, and then he dumped you. In my book, that makes him a jerk, and I have to wonder why in the world your father would send Andrew to plan any of this. If a man did what Brandon did to me, my daddy and all three of my brothers would give the guy something to think about for the rest of his life. And then we're going to move forward. Looks like page 50 got marked. Okay. Yeah, it was brilliant, all right, the plan that was devised by her dad. And kind of cruel, but then revenge was always cruel. And it might just make Brandon crazy, which would be okay. There was always one small problem. It would probably destroy Andrew's friendship with Brandon. And then for some strange reason, as furious as Lori felt right now, it didn't seem fair that Andrew should be the collateral damage in her father's cruel game of revenge. We're going to move forward to page 93. Or is it 94? 94, sorry. Okay. Andrew is kind of like the guy that every girl is like, oh, if he would just step up to the plate and bat it over the fence. And let me just tell you, he does, even though he's doing a job for Noah, he does fall for Lori. And right now he's twirling her around in one of those moves that had her walking backward, and until he walked forward and her heart took flight in her chest. This was stuff of little girl fantasies. Her inner princess reveled in the idea of dancing with a guy who had rescued her. Isn't he just the sweetest? Okay, we're going to move forward. Page 126. Okay. Courtney and Lori are talking yet again. You think I see the worst in people. In men, yeah, I do. I'm sorry if that upsets you, but your whole men classification system doesn't include a single category for Mr. Right. That's because Mr. Right is a myth. And facing that undeniable truth protects me from guys like Brandon. I'm nobody's victim. And I am? Courtney didn't say a word. After a moment, Lori nodded her head. Do whatever you want, but please don't permanently damage his car, okay? I wasn't planning to. No? Courtney shook her head. No, I just want him to learn a lesson. Courtney let go of a long sigh. Look, the car's in the big barn. You know the way, I assume. She reached for into her food lion bag. Here's a flashlight in case you change your mind. Because they try to go and, well, at first, they want to damage his prized possession. And they get kind of talked out of it, but then they don't. But then they get caught. Yeah, it's sad. But they don't go to jail because they have a cop who's on their side. Okay. Page 152. Let's see here. Courtney is talking with one of the boys that, kind of has a crush on her, if you will. I'm hoping that in the next book she expands on Courtney, because Courtney and Matt make a great couple, but we'll just have to go into this. Well, for starters, I find it amusing that you're a wedding planner who has a side gig of helping women get revenge on men who dump them. Amusing? Really? You think it's funny what Brandon did to Lori? In my book, he's an asshole who deserves to be punished. She turned toward him, the street lamp painting the planes and angles of his face with a golden light. Damn it all, Matt Landon was unbelievably handsome. It irked her to no end. She was attracted to him. There was that moment when she was staring down the barrel of a rifle, when she stopped fearing for her life and started fearing for her sanity. The man excited her in ways she knew for certain were unhealthy. That's kind of a good paragraph in itself. So we're going to move forward. Page 179. Okay. Courtney and Ryan are talking. Ryan is the policeman that let everybody off the hook, if you will. Let's see here. Courtney looked back down at her drink. Thank you, Ryan, for making me feel so much better about myself. You're welcome. And since you're listening, I suggest you stop going around expecting the worst from people. It's true, people will disappoint you most of the time, but sometimes they can surprise you, you know? I'm not a... Junie interrupted the argument by reaching across the bar and tapping Courtney's hand. Ryan is entitled to his opinion, and for what it's worth, your aura has changed just a tiny bit. Hardly noticeable, but significantly nonetheless. Oh, really? There's a tiny spark of yellow in it now, which is a good sign. And what does yellow mean? It's the color most associated with learning, and I think maybe you're beginning a new quest for self-knowledge. Oh, great. This sounds like so much fun. She drained her Manhattan and slid the empty martini glass toward Junie. I think I need another one. Learning can be a witch sometimes. Ryan cocked his head. Did you drive or did you walk tonight? Damn it, Ryan, you're not my keeper. You know? Okay, we're going to move on. This book, even though it had so many characters, it was very entertaining. And I loved how everybody just intertwined and fit like a piece of a puzzle. That's when you know it's a good book. Okay, page 223. Lori isn't my problem, Matt. She's my friend. She's in trouble. She needs my hat. My hat. She needs my help. What do you want me to do? Stand here and tell her to go screw herself? Because telling her to call Brandon after what he did to her would be the same thing. Just because Brandon dumped her doesn't give us permission to treat her like crap. So he goes to her aid because she's out on one of those famous dates, and he overhears the date tell somebody that he's talking to on the phone that it's just because he works for her dad, and it kind of hurts her feelings, so she wants to go home. And he comes and rescues her. Page 233, which it's the last paperclip. I know some of you like going, thank God. Anyway, what the hell? Had he been playing her all this time? Telling her one thing while Brandon was something else, and all the way while dancing to Daddy's jig? She slammed the door open and Tint, giving them both a piece of her mind. Unfortunately, her stomach and her head were still coming to terms with the alcohol she consumed earlier in the evening. She took one step in the hallway and she knew she was in trouble. There would be no dressing down or bawling anyone out. In fact, she nearly didn't make it to the bathroom in time as her stomach heaved up the rest of its contents, leaving her hugging the commode with Brandon and Andrew arguing outside the bathroom door. And that is where I want to leave you. Who did she wind up with, Brandon or Andrew? Who deserves to be with Lori, Andrew or Brandon? Maybe she doesn't choose either one. The only way to find out is read this amazing book, which gets a 10. That's right, 10 from me. And you know that's good. That's very good. Stay tuned. We got another book review to do.